With time travel becoming such a prominent part of Mortal Kombat's narrative in recent years, I think looking back over every instance of time travel in the series could be interesting. So let's go back to the beginning and see if we can untangle this yarn ball of a canon. Welcome to Cannonball. The first instance of time travel in MK was not actually in the games, or any other piece of MK media actually. Let me explain. In the final episode of Mortal Kombat Conquest, the TV prequel to the two movies by Threshold Entertainment, the entire cast is wiped out save for Raiden and Shao Kahn. Don't think we won't be seeing that idea again in this video. This was supposed to lead into a second season where either the finale would be revealed as a dream/premonition Kung Lao was having, or as Threshold's website for the MK universe would detail on the official timeline, the Elder Gods intervene and turn back time because Kahn's actions broke the rules, but they wouldn't intervene during the act. So yeah, Threshold had an even larger, far more insidious influence on MK than we typically believe. Mortal Kombat 4 hints at time travel being possible when Reptile requests that Shinnok send him back in time to save Zeraora from Shao Kahn. It doesn't go particularly well. The next instance supposedly was to be in one of the games but didn't make it. I can't confirm this, so take it with a grain of Melina Stan brand salt. The Conquest mode of MK Deception was apparently intended to include a time travel component that was axed from the final version. I'm not sure where this was first alleged, but it does seem to be backed up by the mode's timeline not really adding up, such as Noob Saibot being around long before Bi-Han's death, or the ridiculously short time between MK1 and Deadly Alliance a decade later, with years then taking place between then and Deception, which is supposed to pick up immediately after DA. And Shujinko does go through some timey-wimey thing when he retrieves the Chaos Realm Kamidogu, with multiple years passing in what feels to him to be mere seconds. Plus it does make sense to include time travel in this story, or else you wouldn't be able to see most of the series' core cast until around 3/4 of the way through this 40-year quest, as most of the main Earthrealmers weren't even born when the quest started. The first true instance of time travel would be in MK Armageddon. In Kung Lao's ending, his victory over Blaze results in him being sent back in time, where his ancestor lets him compete in his second tournament in his place, defeating Goro and winning the tournament, presumably remaining champion from then on. Quan Chi's also utilises time travel, as the Elder Gods transform him into Shinnok's amulet and send him back in time to when Shinnok first found it, adding a hint of irony to Quan Chi stealing, copying and wielding the amulet himself. This also suggests that Shinnok, as a fallen Elder God, really could have sent Reptile back if he'd won and regained his power. But it's also yet another Armageddon ending involving weird transformation stuff that makes me think someone on the team was really into that. The first canonical instance would come in 2011's Mortal Kombat, where Raiden sends visions of the Midway timeline back to his past self at the start of MK1 in order to prevent Shao Kahn from winning Armageddon, thus setting the MK universe on a different path than was seen in the first 7 games. This could theoretically explain Delia's visions of the future in Armageddon, especially since her son Taven can freeze time in a local area. Mortal Kombat 11 would then take what was set up in that game and reframe the entire franchise as being about time manipulation by the Titan of Time Kronika, who is alleged to have reset the timeline countless times. She pulls past versions of numerous characters into the present as part of a villainous plot that really doesn't make any sense when you think about it. The story ends with her death after she resets the timeline again. The game's Aftermath expansion picks up right after and sees a more traditional time travel plot play out, as Liu Kang sends Shang Tsung, Fujin and Nightwolf back to the middle of chapter 7 of the main story to retrieve Kronika's now shattered crown, culminating in a final battle between Liu Kang and Shang Tsung to determine who will reset this timeline and forge the next one. Additionally, the Terminator appears in MK11 as a guest fighter and is stated to be from the future of another universe. And everyone gets a chance to change history in their endings in the game. Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, spoiler alert, is revealed in its endgame to be the result of Kano acquiring the Hourglass and resetting time himself over and over, as seen in his MK11 ending. It's unclear if this is a sequel to Kano's ending and the rest of the NetherRealm timeline by extension, or if a version of MK11 took place in the Legends timeline around 30 years after Battle of the Realms. And finally, Mortal 1 Kombat establishes that the final battle of Aftermath splintered reality off into an incalculable number of timelines where everyone got a shot at Kronika and built their own timeline, the most prominent of which being Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, and soon Havoc's timeline. I'm just dreading the future reveal that Liu Kang isn't the one who originally won, but that this is yet another timeline that popped into existence with a bullshit history after the real winner saved the day. The series has done dumber things with time shit, as this video has highlighted. And I need to mention before anyone gets mad at me for not doing so, even though it's not really relevant, time was supposed to pass differently between Earthrealm and Outworld according to John Tobias, and Jax claims this is the case in Shaolin Monks, but it's not been brought up otherwise. The pedantic commenter, leave me alone. Hopefully, even with the multiverse focus and the door being left open for Kronika's victory to exist out there somewhere, this series will never indulge in time travel again because it's never led to anything worthwhile. It's only filled in a plot hole created by the unforeseen cancellation of a TV show, overcomplicated a narrative to the point that it was removed allegedly, served as a somewhat unique non-canon ending, indulged in some team members' TF kink, and kickstarted a new timeline that did very little of note with the freedom this offered before devolving into DC event comic schlock and rebooting for the second time in a decade so it could jump on the multiverse bandwagon. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. Today's recommended video is Which Mortal Kombat Characters Can Time Travel? No MK11 Leak/Spoilers by Tabmock99 because I only remembered Reptile's MK4 ending because of him.